It's a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. So we're here back home, Bergen. It's windy today, but it's still good to be home.
First or straight off since Corona, I had like 5 weeks off, basically not doing any training at all, recovering both mentally and physically from that awful experience out on Queen K. And then I built up the training again from December 2nd with first like 6 weeks of training here in Bergen. Just sort of got back into the routines, and then we went to Nice for a month. Tried to both get like a good solid training camp at sea level, and also to get the feeling of the course and trying to figure out what I need to do on the bike, especially in terms of like the power and maybe how I need to pace it on race day. In terms of like in the hill, you're normally producing more power than you're doing on a flat section. So just getting an idea of how long the hills are and where it's smart to put in the effort and how long the hills are, and just to get that like into the head, and also playing around with the balance on the bike, because it's not just an aero course, it's also like, I'll say, a more power-based course.
Yeah, Nice was valuable for me. Definitely the bike needs to be a powerful position, comfortable position, and you don't have to limit your forward visibility. That's like the main takeaways from there. In Kona, I had a Kona optimized position, and I don't think that really had an impact on my performance. I was just not fit enough there, but it was very stretched out. And for Kona conditions, I think it was maybe the fastest I could have made. But for Nice, it's a totally different challenge. Ergo, you need a totally different position. And that's what I'm working at the moment to really accomplish. So forward visibility and comfortable and yeah, powerful, I would say. It's the main takeaway there. The run course I kind of knew from beforehand, because it's the same as the 70.3. It's rather flat, not very challenging, could be windy. Yeah, nothing really exciting in that part. So mostly the bike. So now we are in ADO in Bergen, and for me, I'm gonna do a little swim test today. It was pretty good after season break, then sickness, then building up like I was before the sickness. So really uncertain of how the test will go today. So that's exciting. Yeah, we're doing 500 meters, so progressive until you can't really finish the 500 meters anymore. And then we do 200 meters all out. So it's a pretty tough one. So I'm a bit nervous / excited on how this will go. This time around in Nice, the weather was rather horrible. So it was cold since basically day one.
So it wasn't like a heat training camp, or we weren't actually able to stress the heat score at all. We've been coming basically during the last couple of months with very limited amount of heat training or getting up to those heat scores. So that's more like to be aware of now when we are both for 2 weeks here in Bergen. We will do a little bit more inside with a little bit warmer temperature, just to get that stimuli on the blood plasma as well. For the last couple of weeks we haven't implemented that, but that's something we will do now for the next couple of weeks. So especially now before heading up to altitude, we will try to do a little bit more heat stress, just in order to get a good start on the camp in Sierra Nevada. And then maybe on the second half of the camp in Sierra Nevada, we will do a little bit more, not very dramatic heat training, but more like just enough to sort of get the sweat going and get the core temperature a little bit above the normal and what we would do outside.
Yeah, so that was the swim done. As expected, not my greatest test, but all in all it was decent. I think the biggest issue with these tests, the less fit you are, the more fatigued you get towards the end, and the worse you kind of get. So it's kind of like a double negative. So I'm not fit enough to do the set. Also, I'm getting too tired during the set to not finish it, but yeah, it was okay, I would say, but I would estimate my threshold right now to be 117 maybe, which is pretty terrible in many ways, but yeah, my LT1 is good. It's just that yeah, everything above the LT1 bit is pretty bad, and that has a lot to do with ventilation as well, because I haven't been able to really push high ventilation. But I think maybe 4 or 5 good ventilation sessions, like VO2max sessions, like 3 times 13 times 50 or something, would help me a lot. Not only in the VO2max bit, but also at the threshold bit, just because you get the ventilation up. And in swimming, it's an art to breathe fast and efficient without dragging you down. So yeah, lots of good learning on the test.
So as you can see, the room temperature here is quite low for 2 reasons. Electricity prices, gas prices has gone through the roof, so we're trying to keep it a little bit lower because due to budget, but also because I want to get the first week now home in Bergen. I want to get a little bit easier through the training. Like, to do heat training adds another stress to the training and the overall load. And for my first week home now, I'm planning to just simplify it, and then the next week I will first off start off with like closing the windows, the door, and taking off the fans, and then putting on the oven, just to get like a soft beginning and start sweating a little bit more for the easy training I'm doing. And then I'm heading up the altitude and not doing too much heat training there in the beginning, because then I'm naturally getting that stress on the heart and the body with the thin air. But then halfway through the camp I'll sort of slowly add in a little bit more heat strain. So like doing some sessions on the turbo up at 2,300 meters, doing it just next to the pool, simply just to get working on the turbo. I think it's great for the pedal and the aero position and the muscular stamina, but also it's good to get that, I think it's good for recovery to just sweat it through. I haven't really looked too much into the course profile in Oceanside, but it's typically like the first major race of the season, and it's typically like both American athletes tend to show up there in great fitness, and it's sort of the first sort of time where people are measuring themselves up against each other. It's a little bit like first race of the season, and you just wonder what kind of training have the other guys been doing.
Yeah, judging by the swim test today, I would say if I manage to get in shape to be in the front pack, that would be a good start. My bike should be decent enough that I can maintain the first pack if I'm in it, but maybe not cover any attacks. And then the run, I would say 1:11, 1:12 is realistic. With that in mind, I think maybe a top 8 there.
It's also like a post-Olympic year, so it's more guys from the short course moving up to the half distance, and it would be interesting to see what they can be putting together.
I feel like everyone is saying it every year though, like the level now is crazy, but they're still finding ways to improve. The half marathon and marathon times is dropping like crazy, and I think a lot of to do it is with just knowledge around training and nutrition. And I like to see also myself as one of the innovator on that aspect. We have done a lot of research, and I feel like a lot of people have learned from what we have been doing. And it's good that people learn, but it also makes it harder for me, because people have some different learnings from themselves, and then they take the best of our learnings and implement it, and it's getting harder to beat people because everyone is just getting better and better. I think the level is crazy, as everyone is saying.
I haven't really raced half distance at the highest level basically since like I did 2023. Yeah, that's maybe the last time I really raced at the World Championship. Back in Bergen again after that camp, and been recovering, and also taking down the volume a little bit and ramping up the intensity a little bit, just to make sure that I'm absorbing the training I will do that for another week, and then we will head to the first altitude camp of the year. So less altitude this winter than normal, mainly because if I were putting in one more, it would have been like in November-ish time. And since I had like completely off season this year, we skipped that camp. I thought it was too tight to put in an altitude camp in January when we're going up again now in March. So yeah, sea level, a little bit more sort of naturally, a little bit higher power, and then we will get to Sierra Nevada and really have a tough camp there.
The season is built around the Ironman Pro Series. The first race in start of April in Oceanside, and then end of April in Texas, so that's a half and a full. And then I'm doing the half Ironman in Aix-en-Provence, and then Frankfurt, and then Nice, and then hopefully I would be qualified for Marbella and do that as well. So that's the minimum races, I would say. Hopefully I can add some more racing, but that's like the core racing. And I don't want to add unnecessary races because I'm gonna race hopefully 3 full distance Ironman this year. It's gonna be tough.
2025 is all about 2 races really, or actually just 1 race, which is Nice. And then if we bring it up to 2 races, it's Marbella and Nice. And if we go a little bit wider, it's the Ironman Pro Series. And the focus is in that order. So obviously I want to win Nice. It would be nice to win the 7.3 World Championship in Marbella, and then it will also be nice to take the Ironman Pro Series. But it's going in that order. That's the plan. That's what we're training for. Yeah, it's about to bounce back from a terrific 2024.